Right, it's Thursday, March 28th. I wanted to analyze the stock of Snow, SNOW, and kind of see where it is right now, what might be developing in the bigger picture and everything else. So obviously, you can see here it's currently at about 162.50, 162.45. This blue line, that's where price currently is. It did have a big gap down to start the month and then followed through lower. Now we're kind of chopping around a little bit in the short run. If we look at the weekly chart, which is a chart I really like to look at for trading purposes in the, for the next foreseeable, few days and weeks. That's just an inside bar this week turning green. So it is possible we kind of come up and take out, if we can take out that inside bar high, into next week, which would be a high of 165.89, then we could be getting up to this area as a first target, 168.68. And you'd have to see at that point, after we hit that target, do we just kind of pause in there and then resume the downtrend, or is that maybe a big green bar to the upside that starts up? I happen to think that we're still heading lower on this stock in the bigger picture, even though we're kind of consolidating here after a big push down. And the reason I say that, we kind of go, first of all, it is a stock that's on I have a watch list. I watch a lot of stocks, and you can see here, Snow is on that list that I kind of watch all the time for opportunities. But anyway, if we look at, let's start with the yearly chart and then just go quarterly and monthly. On the yearly chart here, it's definitely red and heading lower. So that's why, as long as you're below the open, which is like in the 190 area, you're looking for kind of setups that kind of go to the downside, just given that we're in a yearly red bar. And until that goes above 190 for the rest of the year, who knows if it gets down, all the way back down to the low hundreds, but it's certainly red. So that's, more big picture stuff. On the quarterly chart, which ends today, this is the end of the quarter, we're going to end up with a red shooter bar. So to me, we're going to take out the low of that. Even if we head higher, I still think at some point we take out the low of this bar. When I see a red bar like this ending, you can look at any red bar, you typically, go lower and test it. This one was making all-time lows, and we just, this would be the way where you don't test it, where you kind of start, you come down to test that, and then you get through the open and it turns green. So for that whole quarter, it was kind of green. So if we're in here, closing today red, we come down and can't break that low and then turn green on the quarter, you can maybe consider that we might be reversing to the upside. But if we start up a little bit green, then if we eventually turn red, I'd feel real high probability we're taking out the low of that bar. But either way, I'm expecting that low to be taken out. And since there are all these other lows real close by, that's kind of stop orders down there. I think those should be taken out as well. That's what the chart is telling me until proven otherwise. But that's, bigger picture stuff on the quarterly. On the monthly chart, we're going to close with a red bar with a little bit of, buying here at the very end of the month. That's more just consolidation after the gap down. I still think this red bar typically leads to lower prices. And then, given that we have higher highs here and we're heading lower, it seems like we're going to take out those lows. So that's sort of what my expectation is, even if we might rally a little bit in the very short run here, above this inside bar high. If we do and fail and come down, I would get very excited to get short to take out these lows. If somehow we start down here and can't really, take out those lows and then start up on and then the monthly and the quarterly and the yearly, well, not the yearly, but the monthly and quarterly charts turn green, and then the weekly charts green, maybe that could be the start of some move to take out all this. But when you see this kind of a big drop, it's usually tricky in terms of any sustained move to get back to those highs. I guess there's definitely the possibility to rally up in here for a decent, shorter term move. But again, I still see this as type of thing where no matter what happens to the upside, I'm expecting these lows to be tested again on all those higher time frames. So it's not a stock I'm that excited about in the long, to buy, but given the fact that maybe it would have to be a scenario like I described on the quarterly chart, where you're seeing this big red bar here, but it doesn't really take out that low and turns green, then maybe for a few months we can go higher up in this area. But it almost looks like even on this chart, we're just consolidating it here after a big move down. This is way back in 2021. That could be then wanting to test these lows. So I don't know what, what's going on fundamentally with this stock, but in terms of the technicals, it's just not there. You'll just have to see. I think in the very short run, let's just see next week if we can take out that inside. If you want to buy it, or if anyone's looking to buy it, then the inside bar here, break to the upside, would be a start, and then just to see if it could reach that 168 area, and if it can get above there, and then maybe big green can form. But that would be the first sign of a potential move back up if it's going to occur, and we'll just have to see what unfolds here. In the bigger picture with some of these targets down below here is still the high probability until proven otherwise.